there's been a crisis in masculinity.
Yeah.
A lot of men are simply checking out for multiple reasons, but the first thing is that, you know, hypergamy is on steroids. So that in conjunction to the fact that a big reason why we do what we do is for sexual gratification. Human as males, right? And the dating market has become the situation where as women's standards go up, more men are ostracized. So a lot of men are just simply having no more incentive
Mm.
to go forward. And this is happening with millennials and definitely
What do you
Zoomers.
mean with women's standards going up? What does that mean?
So hypergamy is this idea that's basically proven that women date up and
Oh,
and men date down. That's the basic idea of it. And you know, I've studied pretty extensively the decline of civilizations, and I would argue we are kind of in a decline. I'm not saying that the knell of doom is around the corner and it's burning skies and pandemonium. I call it first world hell world. So here we are in this beautiful estate, fridge is full of goodies, AC, nice equipment, but spiritually, the collective mass is very zombified romantically.
hmm.
Like we're sort of calloused in this way. So I call it first world hell world. And what I look at is when you study every empire that has fallen, there's three stages, Ed. Okay, so we're in between stage 2 and 3. The first stage is the death of God, or the lack of reverence for a higher order. And Friedrich Nietzsche writes about this in The Gay Science when he said that God is dead. Everyone's heard of this sentiment. Jordan Peterson has been talking about it on stage, reanimating this important lesson. And once that happens, you sort of are castrated from a sense of a higher order, and your reverence is gone now. Look how irreverent we are. We don't have reverence today, right? So that's the first stage.
Hmm.
And once that happens, the moral structure above is sort of castigated. So what happens next? The next stage is female sexual liberation. And I specify female sexual liberation, not male, because what happens is there's a guy named J.D. Unwin. He wrote his magnum opus called Sex and Culture, and he studied 86 different cultures through 5,000 years of recorded history. And he found that with the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Athenians, the Romans, what they all had in common is once we give up our belief in God, women become sexually liberated. And once they're sexually liberated, men no longer want to fight to maintain their social cohesion. We lose our purpose, our cohesion. And then the third stage, and we're in between stage 2 and 3 right now. That's why we have all these red pill podcasts, by the way, or feminist pwn videos. It's because we're trying to backtrack, but we're in between stage 2 and 3. And the last one is desecration of beauty and rewriting history. And Roger Scruton writes about this in his book Beauty. So basically, we're right at the stage where we're going to start seeing some serious negative return for this widespread promiscuous whoredom. And I'm not trying to be a hater or anything. I'm just saying from studying, reading all the literature, this is what's going to happen, I think.
Kind of like Rome.
Yeah, just like Rome.
Yeah. I didn't know that the women.
Keep in mind how Rome fell apart as well. I'm sorry to interrupt, by the way. But great empires, they fall from the inside out. Like
Yeah.
when Rome fell, they were having orgies, and everyone had like their own wine cellar. They had like there's wealth when Rome fell, and the Ottoman Empire was being led by a 23-year-old general at the time. And how did he take down an army that was literally 15 times larger? You know why? Because they didn't care to defend it at that point because they were so obstreperous from the inside.
Mhm.
So of course the walls will fall.
Yeah, I didn't know that throughout history that the women had gotten super promiscuous. I mean,
Every time. Yeah.
and they had to deal with pregnancy though. I mean, the sexual liberation this time was, really with birth control, right?
Yeah. So we ours is even worse actually.
I mean, yeah, because they
Yeah.
it's
And again, I'm not slut shaming, whatever you call it. I'm simply looking at the fact that, look, you do the basic calculus. You just do the basic arithmetic here, right? If nothing is pure, and I'm talking about like female virginity and being chaste,
Mhm.
if nothing is pure, then in a way, nothing is sacred, right? And if nothing is sacred, why should I care if some unassimilatable culture sends us men and takes them because I don't feel connected to them because it's not something I want to protect in the first place anymore. Like I mean, I'm sussing this out as I'm talking to
Sure.
you, but
Yeah.
that's sort of the gut feeling that the common man has today
The common man feels like they can't get women, or it's not even worth it.
because they're seeing that it's just too much. It's too much effort to even play the game for the value of what it's like. I think it's called hoflation. Like,
Hoflation?
yeah, it's hoflation.
What is that?
Hoflation is the fact that men today, you and I, have to work 10 times harder
Mm-hmm.
than our grandfathers did.
Mm-hmm.
For women 100 times worse.
Oh, really? Is that what it's interesting? Yeah,
Again, I'm talking about the average man for a reason.
sure. No,
Yeah,
I'm thinking too, though, because, and I don't know about any of all that stuff. But,
yeah.
From a dating standpoint, my experience is, let's say, a man that's 35, 40 years old, you generally don't date someone 35 or 40 years old if you haven't,
Yeah, sure.
if you're not already married or something like that, don't already have a girlfriend. Let's say you're dating someone 25 to 30, a little younger. The men in their 20s, I'm 42 now, and I've got an awesome girlfriend, but
Yeah.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, she's really cool. But the men, the competition now is so weak. These men are just a bunch of little betas.
But they're giving. This is my point. They're giving up altogether.
Yeah, because they're betas. They're being little bitches.
Well, that's half true.
Okay.
What I will say is that 80% of women want 20% of men, anyways.
Wait, 80% of
80% of women want 20% of men.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. So
if that's the case, then why don't you become the man that women want?